Am I the idiot for not going to my parents' wedding before they get divorced again? So my, female 26, parents 50, got married when I was 5 and I was the flower girl. Around when I was 10 they got divorced, which no one saw coming because they never fought. I feel like I have to mention my parents are both very wealthy and kept finances separate, and so it was an easy divorce and obviously they could pay for it. When I was about 17ish they decided to get back together. Me being 17, was overjoyed and was a bridesmaid at their second wedding. I really hope you see where this is going, but they ended up separating again. They didn't tell anyone and didn't get a divorce, but we all knew they were separated, and 3 years later they wanted to renew their vows, in which I was asked to buy a nice dress for the occasion. Surprise! They got divorced. Again. And only 3 months after their renewal. After that I sorta just lived my own life because I wasn't exactly thrilled at whatever they were doing and honestly really over it. So a few days ago I got an invite in the mail to my parents' March 4th wedding after 6 years, and so I called my mom about it. She was super excited and told me I was old enough to be her MOH and that she wants me to buy a $1,500 dress. That's a solid no from me. I told her I'd be her MOH, but I'm either going to wear the original bridesmaid dress, which is a cream color, or the other nice one I got, which is brown, because I'm not buying a $1,500 dress. She freaked out and told me that those don't match the color scheme, pink and green, and that she knows I can afford it. Which is true. I got an inheritance from my grandfather's passing. However, when my fiancé and I moved in together, he made it clear he didn't want me to be paying for most things and he wanted to do it 50-50. So we got a small apartment that he could afford to pay his share of, and all of my extra money is in savings/college fund because we want a large family of 5 to 7 kids and they are, well, expensive. So I reminded my mom of that and told her that I also would like to use my money on other things that won't be worn once and I'll have to buy a new one every 3 to 6 years. My mom called me a spoiled brat and that I'm wasting my privilege. I have no words. And now I'm telling her I won't be a part of my own parents' wedding. I told her that I was going to be willing to show up to the wedding and not be the maid of honor. But at this point I'm not showing up at all and told her to call me when they get their next divorce. I hung up and got a slew of nasty emails from my family throughout the day, and my friends are divided on if I made the right call with the premise that they are my parents. Am I the idiot? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot 100%. What the fuck? Who marries and divorces the same person multiple times? You're completely in the right not wanting to spend that much money for a one occasion dress when they most likely will divorce again, and you're gonna need the money with so many kids planned. Comment 2. Not the idiot. I'm sorry, but once it's the 3rd to 4th time to the same person, it's no longer a special event or moment. That's just a massive display of stupidity. It's totally reasonable that, if they are doing this every 5 years or so, to say that either they really should not be together, or that they really want the attention. Though to me this situation reads as two people who are not compatible but can't stand not having someone to give them attention. Now for the update. Hi guys. First of all, thank you for all the attention, and some of your comments were absolutely hilarious. My fiancé and I had a field day going through all of them. A lot of people suggested just making my mom pay for the dress, but I was debating the suggestion of just being a guest. Though a lot of you agreed with me to just not show up, I ended up calling my mom and was going to make a decision however it went. She started off the conversation that she didn't need me to be a part of the wedding party because her and my dad were having trouble having the best people. AKA no one will do it again, lol. So they were going to scratch that part of the wedding and it was all about them anyway. So I told them I was coming as a guest, and after I made plans with my cousin to give me a lift so I wasn't spending a single cent on going to their wedding. Now my fiancé and I go over to their house for dinner once a month, so we went over there Saturday. As I mentioned before in a comment or two, my fiancé grew up financially insecure, and so I struggle with convincing him to do something nice for himself once in a while. I did however just convince him to spend part of our savings to do a really nice honeymoon in Greece since we are doing a small wedding. It took some pulling of teeth, but he now won't stop getting travel books and researching, and it makes me so happy to see him excited about this. It was a fairly pleasant dinner until my own wedding planning came up. I told them that we were pretty much set with the wedding, but we were having our details on Greece. My mom got visibly upset and excused herself, and my dad followed. I was pretty confused, but they came back and my dad calmly explained that my mom feels very hurt that I'd be willing to spend thousands of dollars on my honeymoon, but wouldn't shell out money for their wedding. I was pretty dumbfounded and said, "Well, we are willing to have an expense on the honeymoon because we are only getting married once." So yeah, I got kicked out of the house and uninvited from the wedding. Not super torn up about it, and this is now my fiancé's favorite story to tell. Happy holidays, y'all. Comment 1. I seriously can't believe your mom is trying to overshadow your wedding with her 4th wedding, not even waiting for you to have your moment. Comment 2. Sounds like the best outcome honestly, And I am still laughing about your mother being shocked that no one wants to give her the full treatment for her 5th, or whatever wedding. I have an aunt who's been married something like 8 times, and the last 2 she just did a quick stand-up wedding in a garden type thing, because it turns out that no one wants to shell out money or buy presents for your 5th wedding to yet another loser. Comment 3. You're the idiot. It's incredible how selfish some people can be. They are your parents, and you're willing to put your dreams of a large family and an extravagant honeymoon over their happiness. Also, $1,500 for a dress, considering your inheritance, is a drop in the ocean. You've even admitted you can afford it. Their wedding is a testament of enduring love and perseverance, despite the odds. Is that not a lesson worth participating in? Life is full of ups and downs, and they're just trying to navigate theirs the best they can. They don't ask you for much, do they? You ought to be ashamed of yourself for treating your own parents in such a way. It's a wedding, not a circus. Show them some respect. It's the least you can do. Now, for the next story. Would I be the idiot for suing my daughter-in-law? Our son and daughter-in-law, 26, have been together for 2 years and live together. We've always thought she's a very nice girl and she seems to make my son happy, so no problem from us. Our son has his own law firm that he's currently trying to get started. We're very proud of him, and we're fortunate enough to help him with a startup loan. My daughter-in-law works a retail job that she's very happy with. Some time ago my husband and I were over at their apartment, and we decided to order some food. Husband and I wanted to pay, and since our daughter-in-law was ordering from her phone, we gave her our card so she could draw the money from our account. We thought it goes without saying this was to draw an amount once for lunch. However, my daughter-in-law apparently put our card into her Apple Pay, and have been using it since. We didn't notice for some months but recently saw withdrawals we didn't recognize. We had our accountant look into it, and he discovered that our daughter-in-law has been using our card on her phone, and that too, she's spent around $17,000. We were quite shocked and called her up and asked why the hell she's been using our card. She got very defensive, tried to deny it, and eventually said she was entitled to it. And why do we care since we haven't noticed her use for over 4 months? We told her she needed to pay us back immediately or we'd report her actions for theft. She apparently doesn't have the money to pay us back. We've gone to our son and he's offered to pay us back even though he actually cannot afford to. This isn't about the money for us, but more about the fact that she's stolen a huge amount of money. While we are comfortable and it took us time to notice, we still recognize the seriousness of stealing $17,000. Our son has completely dismissed her behavior and excused it as her being stressed. She's taken no responsibility, and we're honestly wanting to go forward with the police report to teach her consequences to her actions. Would we be TA for doing this? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. I work in law enforcement. If you report this to the police, they will take a report and forward charges to the DA. Usually then the credit card cancels the debit portion as fraudulent. If you just chose to sue her civilly, you will still be liable for the debt, and even if you get a judgment, she may not pay it. I wouldn't give her any special pass to avoid criminal charges. Comment 2. Not the idiot. She doesn't think stealing $17,000 is an issue and she's entitled to it? Let the police convince her otherwise. Comment 3. Not the idiot. The entitlement. I do have to ask, was your son aware that this was happening before you approached him? Also, what was she spending it on? $17,000 is a hefty and brazen amount to spend in 4 months for someone who is used to a retail salary. Then the original poster responded with, our accountant gave us a debrief. She was mostly spending it on big lunch/dinner outings, new clothes, jewelry and handbags. Our son wasn't aware as far as we knew and seemed shocked when we told him. I don't know what changed, but he's taken her side afterwards and they haven't been very communicative since. We've tried reaching out. Now for the update. Thank you for all your feedback. I got many requests for an update, so here goes. We were utterly and completely shocked with our son's nonchalant way of handling this, and at a loss. We desperately wanted to fight for our son, but since the initial confrontation he had been avoiding us. We decided we would take the advice and call the police to press charges. However, we wanted to let our son know before doing so. Husband and I decided to show up at his office since he had been ignoring our calls and texts. I know this might sound like a boundary crossing to some, but we desperately wanted to talk to our son. Initially he got angry and asked us to leave, but he calmed down and agreed to hear us out. We told him our side of the story and to say the least, he was shocked. He apologized profusely, cried a little and begged for forgiveness. He told us he was blinded by love, working 14 hours a day and under the impression we had given his GF the money. His girlfriend had apparently told him that we wanted to spoil her, as our future daughter-in-law, and that we gave her carte blanche to buy herself nice things as a way to welcome her to the family. And that we'd since changed our minds on spoiling her and now wanted all the money back knowing she can't afford it. She had told him we did that as a manipulative way to force her out of his life, to try and control him. He was also under the impression she'd spent maybe 3 to 5K and not 17K. He was livid and was actually the one who in the end convinced us to pursue legal action. He actually helped us call the police right then, and they're at his office after our talk. We then went with him home and helped him pack up all her stuff before she came home. She wasn't on the lease, living rent-free, so kicking her out was no issue. We offered to stay with him for the blow-up, but he wanted to handle it on his own. From what he's told me, she didn't take this lightly. So our son's ex has now been pressed with charges and we're awaiting further information. Like some of you pointed out, it's a sufficient amount, and she's been pressed with criminal charges. Our bank has also been informed and we're told we'll likely get our money back. She blew up on the entire family, but no one but our other daughter-in-law is taking her side. Other daughter-in-law is a whole story, for another time perhaps, but we are now glad to officially announce that we are thief-free in the family. We appreciate all your feedback, advice, and engagement. Comment 1. Excellent news. Of course your son was lied to about the situation. I was thinking it was so weird that he was a lawyer and blowing off such a massive and blatant illegal choice by his so to steal that much money from you. Hope you get all your money back and she spends some sufficient time behind bars to learn a freaking lesson about all this. Comment 2. You're the idiot, completely. Your son's happiness. Your son loves this girl, he chooses to defend her, and you should respect that. She made a mistake, sure, she's human after all. Who among us hasn't done something we regret? You have a chance here to take the high road, forgive, and show her the kindness that she may not have been shown before. Moreover, let's talk about theft. $17,000 is a mere drop in the bucket for you, yet you're willing to send a young woman to jail, ruin her life, and create a rift in your family over it. This isn't about theft, this is about control. You've clearly mentioned that you're comfortable and that it took you time to notice the missing amount. Consider this as an unintentional gift, learn from it, and move on. For the sake of your son's happiness, you should drop the charges. Not to mention, this could be a great opportunity for her to learn a life lesson. She'll eventually grow up, see her mistakes, and hopefully, make amends. You won't achieve anything by punishing her legally. Comment 3. So your son believed you were allowing his girlfriend to spend thousands of dollars of your money on herself, and he never said anything about it to you? Not one mention? Not. Wow, that's way too generous. Or even a thank you? Just never discussed it with you at all. No chance in hell. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.